We're once again back. Jeff Go to Go podcast. Dennis Barker Jr. with the Standard Banner, joined by Golf Coach of the Year, Bryson. And can I call you Sports Comm Director too at Jefferson County?
Sounds nice.
Yeah,
it's got a nice ring to it. I've already included that in my my email sign off. So we'll just make it official.
I think that's great. Back again with another podcast. Couple things to talk about real quick. Obviously this week, a big week for Jefferson County. It seems like every week's been a big week for Jefferson County athletics. Football hosting their first postseason game since 2003. And then, of course, the cross-country group on their way to the state championship for a second year in a row. Great work by Bill Delosier and that group.
Absolutely. And what a game that was last week too. I mean, football wise, that we were back and forth the entire first half of that game. Then all of a sudden we came out of it. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the locker room during that break.
I actually heard it was pretty tame.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I had an over/under on obscenities that were uttered, and I was told there were none.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, they knew what they needed to do, and they came out and. Man, they really showed it. So they proved themselves last week for sure.
I mean, just to kind of recap that, William Blood's had an explosive offense all year long. They come out, put up 28 points in the first half. Against a Jeff County defense, it's been rock solid all year long, and they certainly showed it in the second half. Outscored them 40-0, pick up the win, moved to 9-1, and going into the playoffs on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, and I think that defensive adjustment at halftime is what the biggest takeaway for us moving into next week. Everybody's like, oh, once you get to Region 2, what's it going to look like? Every Region 2 opponent offers something different. They're all really good. Doesn't matter what the record is. So to come out and go, blow for blow with William Blount, but then turn it around and score 40 on them unanswered in the second half just shows the maturity of our defense. And I'm excited to see, how they adapt and overcome next week.
Well, even the offense too. Only 2 drives they didn't score on, and both of them kind of had a little asterisk next to them. The one, you get hit with a double whammy of penalties that probably should have just been one penalty, backs you up 30-plus yards. And then on top of that, last drive of the first half, you just run out of time.
Yeah, so, caught it right down there at the 3-yard line, something like that. Just ran out of time, didn't have enough time to run another play. So yeah, very impressive.
So other than that, offense imposed their will. Then, of course, like we said, cross-country back at the state championship.
Yep.
Exciting time for that. Make sure to show those guys some support. And, of course, on Friday night, get out here, support these guys. I mean, they finally unveiled a list of all the stuff that this team's accomplished and this senior class has accomplished. And I mean, if you're
long list.
Yeah, if you're not coming out and being a part of it, you're certainly missing out because stuff like this doesn't come around all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, with that said, let's get into our guest. We got senior Taryn Woods and girls soccer coach Shawn Way. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Shawn, I'll start with you. 3 straight district titles. I mean, we talked about it going back to the summer that it was going to be a possibility, and here you guys are, just dominate the district once again. I'd ask you if you've ever been a part of a run like this. I know that the answer to that because it's never happened before. But have you ever been a part of just a team like this and the way that things have just kind of functioned these last 3 years?
I just feel like it's been a seamless transition with the girls from when we reached senior group. They know what's expected. From the girls that brought us together in 21, we lost some players and just kept things really positive and built the culture we wanted. And the girls last year carried that torch, and then this year it's like we just picked right up. And the girls, they mentioned it early in the summer. Had it ever been done before? No, we have an opportunity to do something that's not been done before in school history, and that's always exciting. And the girls just bought in. And, I mean, when we had our conference games and district tournament, we were 100% locked in. So just proud of the way they played, carried themselves all season.
Taryn, of course, you've been a part of this program for the last 4 years. What's it been like just being a part of that and seeing, like, the inner workings of how this team has grown in that time?
It's been crazy to see, like, how we've all, like, grown together, too, because, I mean, like, our freshman year, obviously, my freshman year, we didn't win, obviously, but then we just kicked it in gear, and we were like, we're going to win these, and then we just kept it coming. And then, I mean, even if we've had a rough week before that, we just woke up fall break week, and we were like, let's go, it's time to win this tournament.
That's always been an interesting aspect with a lot of coaches I talk about. Fall break is such a challenge, and even when you get to spring sports, spring break is such a challenge because you still have games that are going on, but you're not in school, you're not in your normal routine. So as a student, what kind of challenge is that for you whenever weeks like that come around?
It's hard because you want like a break, obviously, but knowing that what you're doing is you're going out there to play the sport that you love so very much with like your whole team, and then what can come with it at the end, it just doesn't matter to you. It's just a sport that you love, and you're just gonna go do it.
Of course, to go 15-0 against district opponents, like you said, you guys put to task. You were just going to go out and get the job done, and to be able to just kind of dominate your district opponents like that, the teams that you see every single year, some twice in a year. I mean, that's obviously impressive. But I mean, do you ever even? Was there any point you ever even start to think about it, or is it just another game day in, day out?
Well, we think of them we think of those games kind of stronger. We shouldn't have. We should think of all of our games the same, but we go into that locker room, we play our music real loud, we get hyped for that game, and we go out there like it's a rivalry and we destroy.
Can you confirm the music's loud?
Yeah, we can hear it next door, and that's okay. We know they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, mentally preparing, and so we don't go in until we knock on the door and get the cue to come in. Us coaches give them their time that they need and they want. So it's fun though. We can tell they're up for the game. So it's it's entertaining, but at the same time it's nice to hear them next door having a good time, and not just being sitting there in silence and being mentally stressed out about it. So no, it's entertaining.
I mean, not just 15-0, but I mean the manner in which you guys are doing it. 63 outscoring teams, 63-8 over the last 4 years, and then the last 2 years 45-3. I mean,
I feel like when the girls get their mindset on something and they realize that, I tell them, you got to score goals to win the games with defense, buckling down, defense wins championships. And there's been a few games here and there that we give up goals we shouldn't have. I think one coming last year to the girl from East just hit a banger in the upper 90. Those goals sometimes happen, sadly, but overall, I mean, it's just the girls lock it down all over the field. And then once they get their mindset and that they're want to be the district champions, they just kind of they're on their way. So the exciting thing to see is that they didn't for 1 minute think that we weren't going to come out and win this. It just was it was a matter of confidence. It wasn't arrogance, just confidence. The way they played, the way they warmed up, the way prepared, even just the way they pre-game in the locker room, you could tell they're up for the game. So that's exciting.
You mentioned just letting them play their music and then giving them the cue whenever it's time to come out. I mean, I almost imagine
I'll let Matt go first. Matt's the one who's Brad's like, you want to knock on the door? Or you want me to? I was like, you just go ahead and knock on the door. I'll stand here beside you and see if they're okay to come in. And we usually to praise the team, and then Vashon Gray, McKinney. Yeah, he's been doing our like a team chaplain. He also does for the football team. He usually says and come a few words of scripture for us, and then we do our Lord's Prayer, and we walk out together. So that's kind of our routine pregame.
I mean, I almost imagine, just imagining that in my head, I almost think of, I don't know if anybody watches wrestling, I'm a little bit of a nerd, but whenever they knock on the door for Goldberg to come out, I mean, is it about like that?
Well, actually, they're letting us come in because we do the prayer inside the locker room, so it's like, is it okay to come in? Nobody's decent,
Right.
and
Sure.
yeah. If anybody's hanging from the ceiling, at least they didn't have time to get down, so yeah.
Taryn, I mean, he talks about obviously the defensive effort. You're a big part of that back line, but also to have someone in goal like Natalie Robeson, how much of a confidence boost is that to have somebody back in the net like that?
It's a very big confidence boost. I mean, we had Adriana in the beginning, and she was like our trust, and then Natalie came along, and it's just you just have that. So you have so much trust for that person as a defense. Like if that ball's getting through, you trust that goalkeeper will have that stop if you can't get there. And I mean, with our defense, we've worked together and we've stuck together basically through it all. We've had games where it's like been all defense and it's just been us, and we've been there for each other, and we've just basically yelled at each other to do what we needed to do, even if it wasn't the right thing. But with Natalie back there, it's a lot of trust, and I mean, we all trust her with basically everything in us to have our backs.
Well, I feel like that was one of the big question marks coming into this year. I mean, your guys' defense has always been solid since I got here, at least. But the fact that you did have a few key pieces that ended up leaving due to graduation. And, of course, Janelle didn't really play last year because she was injured. I know you suffered some injury last year, but still, you two were kind of the anchors and the veteran leaders of that back line, and you had to put in some new pieces. I mean, was it ever a thought on,
I think the most thing it was just getting cohesiveness, and Taryn so had some things she's working through early in the season. We had to kind of minimize Jenny Lee's minutes early on, build her up to where she could play a whole match. Once we got those two healthy back together, that made all the difference. And we actually shifted Taryn to the outside. We needed some strength out there, so it all worked out. We have 6 players that we've used throughout the season with the injuries and whatnot, 6 to 7, but our stable back 4 line. Once we got about midway through the season, got Taryn back healthy. Jenny Lee was building up her minutes and stayed healthy all season. That made a huge difference. It's just like she said, we rely on Natalie a lot, but having those 5 players in the back line, just the back and the spine of your team, it's just you can do a lot of things back there when you have confidence in your back line. So. You can play the ball short out of the back. You can take it, take it overlapping run up. We have players kind of in there half the field. The other team in there half the field. So it allows you to do a lot of things, tactically that you'd like to do.
Well, we talked about Nat already a little bit, but I mean, you guys were deep at goalkeeper this year, and I know you like to give a lot of that credit to Matt Meschendorf, your assistant, because he's almost exclusively works with those girls.
Put a lot of training in this summer. He's trained with them outside of when we were in season as well, and they all 3 put a lot of work in. I hate to see Avery go down in preseason camp at Carson Newman, and Marley. She had to battle through some sickness and some things, injuries, nagging stuff through the summer. But overall, he put all 3 of them through just an excellent amount of training. Had them all prepared. They were all prepared to take the field. Need to. I mean, you saw that on senior night. Marley came out and played great, and even scored a PK. And it's just not. It's nice when we have people back there that you can depend on, coaches you can depend on like Matt.
How did you and Matt's relationship come about?
I think it actually started back around close to the COVID year. He was helping with the boys a little bit, and then asked if he'd be interested in helping in the girls. And I think he might have been just hesitant at first with scheduling and whatnot, because that's when we were in season for boys season at Carson Newman. And so then we, I've had some different assistants in his time here between Dharma Fallbush, who's a former player, and Sarah Vaughn Myers. But Matt has been the constant, and he's aiming to be a coach one day, and so this is a nice fit. And then for him to be a goalkeeper's a bonus, so because it allows us to split things off in practice. But no, we've been very blessed to have him. I'd like to hope we hold him to one more season. We'll see what his fall brings. He's working on his master's degree at Carson Newman, but just blessed to have him.
Well, and I think his work speaks for himself with both programs. Obviously, you coached the boys program as well for the last 21 years, and the fact that Sam Allen was a beast in goal. She mentioned Adriana Reg before Natalie ended up taking over in goal. I mean, you guys have had consistent play in the goal for years in both programs.
Well, even seeing what Matt did we were down our starter and our backup last year. Sam's recovered from knee surgery. Andy had a fall and hurt his back working construction on a weekend or working roofing, and so then he takes Ethan, who's our 3rd string, and got him ready to play before the season started, and it just gave him rep after rep. But just the long line. I mean, Adriana. Taryn can speak for that. She played with her. She knows how hardcore she was. She's played at the college level, and then Nat follows her. So I'm curious if Ethan will keep following Sam, because Sam was good enough to play in college. He chose not to, but the work these guys and gals put in with Matt and just every day is kudos to them. Hats off. They do it. So they're the one that hitting the ground every day.
You mentioned, of course, having some college players. How special is that? I mean, I know you've got one that's over here that's about to finish her senior year at Carson Newman, Abby Zander. But I mean, not even the ones that just go to Carson Newman. I mean, the ones that you have go all around. How special is that? How rewarding is that for you as a coach?
If I always tell a player they come, if they want to play the next level, we want to help them get there, whatever that entails. Whether it's writing a recommendation letter, going, helping them set up a visit, helping them just find a school. I think right now we have either between all levels, NCAA 2 on down, we have 10 or 11 players playing collegiately right now between the guys and girls. I think there's 6 or 7 girls and 5 or 6 guys. So it speaks volumes. I feel like it shows the growth in the program, and again the kids put in the work. So there's truly a place for everybody to play in college if they will take the time to find it.
Taryn, speaking of college, do you have prospects of playing at the next level? What's your outlook right now that high school soccer is over?
I don't think I'm going to play in college. I think I'm just going to mainly just focus on my studies and get through school while I can and then try to see what I'm going to do with my life.
Double major, right?
Yeah.
Double major, definitely not a bad choice then. I did a single major and I barely made it through.
That's right.
I know this year didn't end the way that you guys were necessarily hoping it was, but still, I mean, what kind of year was it, just going through so many ups and downs throughout the year? I mean, Taryn, I'll start with you because, I mean, you had to live it inside the locker room day in and day out, just the ebbs and flows of the season all around.
In the beginning, we wrote down our list. We make a list every year of what we want to accomplish by the end of the season. So we wrote that down, and then we followed it step by step. We had some rough times, but, I mean, we had each other to help each other get better. And, I mean, many concussions were caused. Many.
That was this year's injury.
Yeah.
Last year's injury were ACLs. This year was head concussions. So.
Yeah, but, I mean, through the concussions, we all got better. We finally had a full team again, and we were ready to play.
I remember talking to you in July over at that Carson Newman camp, and it was, yeah, if we can stay healthy, I think that we can have a pretty good year. And then right before you all start the season, yeah, well, Evie's out, Searly's out, Taryn's out.
We limped into that first week of the season after playing a pretty brutal preseason. I told the girls later in the season, I said, you can put that one on me as far as like the preseason games, but I was anticipating the concussions that came randomly. I mean, I think we found new and interesting ways to get concussions, and you can't control them. But yeah, you go down the list, it's pretty interesting. But no, we had to battle. Early part of the season was rough. Just the competition was tough, but we didn't have all our horses for the race, so to speak. So it was nice to have these girls get back healthy, because I know that's one thing I don't like is that sitting on the sidelines having to watch their teammates play. And even the result wasn't what we wanted against DB. You could tell the level of competitiveness was higher in the region game because we had all our players out there, and we were 1-1 at halftime. It could have gone either way. It's just unfortunate they put 2-1 to the goal than we did, and I'm never going to blame anything on officials, but it would have been nice to have one of those calls to maybe get a chance to get back in the game.
That was a fun game to watch. I remember that.
Yeah. Bryson was having a great time.
We were sitting there. Those parents were a little fun in that game.
Yeah, we had a little on the bench fun.
We were
commentating
side.
down there.
So we got to hear all the pleasantries, if you will,
Yeah.
exchanged
That's
in the
fun.
stands, and also that thing.
Yeah.
Of course, I like that.
Of course you
When
do.
college football season is around, I just didn't want to hear it that night. We're having a good year.
It's the ACC. You can have a good year every year.
Oh. Well, you mentioned concussions and new ways of getting them. Have you looked into helmets for the preseason next year? Just some
I've
padding.
looked into players not walking behind the goal, not looking before a game. Taryn got hit in the head before a game. No, it's just one of the things. Some of the ones are definitely preventable, like hitting your own players in the head. Some are not. Sometimes you hit the ball, it hits off a player, bounces off you. You're trying to clear the ball, make a play. No headgear needed, but it's just a matter of maybe we'll avoid the injury bug altogether next year. Maybe it'll be a year where we don't have to deal with any major injuries, season ending or week at a time injuries. That would be nice.
Well, if I hear you say anything that could jinx that,
I'm
whenever
not.
we talk next summer.
I don't even know we'll talk out loud before the season starts next year. I may just take a vow of silence from July on.
There we go.
Yeah, we literally had that conversation, and then boom. It's like, okay, I take it back.
Yeah, I show up to take their team photo, and Searly's in a boot. And it's just like, well, that ended.
Yeah.
Before it started.
I know soccer is one of those sports where people watch football all the time. People study football all the time. I feel like soccer in America isn't one of those as hard hit on sports, and people don't understand the mental aspect of it that I feel like is a very deep part of the game. As a player, Taryn, how in those situations where you might be approaching halftime, maybe a 1-goal deficit, or you might be tied. Soccer is one of those where I feel like scoring is it's a lot harder to score in soccer than it is in a lot of other sports. How do you approach that, as a player? How do you approach maybe entering halftime, either a 1-goal deficit or something like that? What do you say to the team? How do you get everybody?
My main thing I do is I'll just be like, everybody, let's calm down. We do not need to go out there. We do not need to be rushing things. We just need to stay calm, and we need to get this ball around. We need to pass it like we need to, and then if if we play like we can, that ball will end up in the back of the net like we know it can.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes we'll just get overwhelmed. We'll be freaking out because it's the second half. They're up 1-0. But I mean, if we just tell them to stay calm, do what we need to do, and that ball will be in the back of the net.
Yeah, there's several times I remember, running Twitter or something whenever they're playing a game, and it's like, we go up to halftime, not a goal scores, and then boom, one goal, and then another goal, and then another goal, and then another goal. And I'm like, geez, I can't keep up with everything that's going on right now. I mean,
That was what the Seymour game specifically, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah. There's a couple games there at the end of the season where we warmed up to it, but as soon as that first one hit the back of the net, it was just like you found your rhythm, and it was.
I mean, our main thing is we score a goal, and we're always like next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Next 2 minutes are ours. Because I mean, whenever you score that goal, it's easier to get a goal right after. We figured that out. So after we score, it's always next 2 minutes. It's whenever we're going, then we keep it up.
What is it that makes it easier?
See, we personally have noticed it catches them off guard. They're kind of like a little bit like frustrated because we just got a goal. So if you go at them strong, like we find those feet easily, we pass it through everybody, and then you take that shot, there's a better chance that it's going to go in because they're not mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, so just beat them mentally.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that even some other soccer games, like for whatever reason, you get a goal in the 45th minute where you might be able to expect one in the 46th or 47th too, and it's just.
There's a few games this season where we were hunting for a goal, and like you said, we get one right before halftime, right at the beginning of the second half, and it just sets a good tone. It sets a good tone going in the locker room. It sets the right tone coming out of the locker room. On the flip side of that is you don't want to give one up at the end because it just, you've got your head, let's just ride it out to halftime. Maybe we're not playing our best, but let's ride to halftime. And then if you can avoid laying one in, off a set piece, go corner kick, free kick. But those are opportunities, if you're lucky enough to get a corner winding down the half or early on, it can change the trajectory of the game. I mean, just, Evie connected on several free kicks this year. We finally started scoring on corner kicks towards the end. I think, Molly Kevin, one of the smaller people, got one in one of those last few games. The Seymour Wester, one of the games, severe. So, but yeah. And the district championship was, we kind of had to be patient in that game and hunt for a goal in that game. So, yeah.
Having so many coming back yet again, this freshman class has obviously had to mean a lot to you these last few years. What kind of outlook do you have even a year out for that group?
For the group that are coming back this
Yes.
year, I think even a year, focusing, it'll be May before we know it. One more challenge to do is, whenever we have our final end of season banquet, which is usually next month, what are you going to do in the off season to get better? I know some of the girls already have their plans. It's when their players are made. I always say that quote: "Players are made in the off season." Are you gonna work out? Are you gonna play a club? Are you playing another sport and soccer on top of that? Some do both. I've got this the first year I'll ever have freedom in 21 years to actually have off-season workouts with the girls. I think you're allowed, I think it's 10 practices, or we can even condition whenever we want to. I'll give the girls some time, and we'll have indoor season like we always do. And then when we get to that part of spring when there's 9-10 weeks, nothing going on, we're going to touch the ball. We're going to do what we can, whatever we're allowed to do practice-wise. We're going to use those to our advantage and just try to build. I mean, it's a big group coming back. Obviously, we have some key losses. You're losing 2 starters, but we're just going to try and build on it. When we get to the next step, we would like to get back to sectionals and have a chance to play, to go to Chattanooga this past week. Bearden winning third state championship, you got to go through that at some point maybe. But if we could avoid them on that Saturday, it'd be great.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think that's what everybody.
They're like
was looking for.
69-1-2 or 69-0-2 the last 3 years. So, yeah.
Well, even when Bryson was getting a little annoyed from the folks, our kind friends from Kingsport, we were talking about how, they'll just go on and draw Bearden and their season will be done. But then they pulled out a win against Science Hill.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They
To
were
make him a little more
state
upset.
qualifiers.
Yeah,
I know.
that's
When they won this, when Bearden won the semifinals 2-1 against Houston, I was like, they're going to win state because that was their toughest opponent down there. They drew them semifinals. So, yeah.
What is it that makes a team like that so good and such a well-oiled machine?
I don't know. I would love. I mean, I know he gets a lot of just great players on there to play club. I think he probably has some to transfer there just to play there. So, I don't have the answer for that, but whatever he's doing it well. So, yeah.
You mentioned, of course, first time in 21 years that you'll get to do some off-season training with your girls' team. Have you thought about how different this November's going to feel at all since the season ended? Because I know this is about the time that you start getting in touch
I
with
usually
your
give
boys.
myself a month off between the two, so usually middle of the month we meet with the guys. So I've reflected on it a lot actually.
So Christmas is going to be more fun this year.
Christmas, yeah. I told myself, I said, if I start having, I even talked to Randy Rogers about it. I said, if I have the itch, how am I going to handle that? Because I have the itch to get out there. And I thought, well, my son's old enough now. I just get him out in the backyard and I can chase him around. He's got a lot of energy. That's how I'll feed the itch. I'll go see some games. I think Jason McCoy's actually asked me to come out just to come to a few sessions. But I think he and Ryan Cornwell will do an excellent job running the boys. It will be weird in its own way, but it was just time. I've got some things I need to prioritize my family, and we'll miss definitely coaching them, but they're in good hands. So
I know being a coach, the kids almost become like an extended family for you, so they become like kids of your own. So those games that you come to, are you going to be that dad in the stands that's yelling
no,
and
I'm
screaming?
never. I'm not a screamer. Even that's not us. I'll just watch from afar and just I support them. But even going to scout games and watch games and. Probably my son starts playing. I've never been a screamer at the on the sidelines. So yeah.
Well, I will tell you that in a spectator role, you can yell at the officials and say things, and you won't get fined.
Yeah.
Just don't take it too far.
Yeah.
You might get banned,
Yeah.
and then you might get the school a fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But you won't get fined.
I won't get fined.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
How difficult was the decision to step down from the boys program?
It was one that I told Matt in the wintertime last year that this is something that might be coming, and I talked to my wife about it and prayed on it, and just I thought if this was a time to go, it would be a good time with a big large class and not leaving the cupboard bare. They have a great group returning. I go down the list of roster of players, but they've got a great group returning. So it's not like I left them as only underclassmen to try to rebuild from a program of losing 14 seniors. But it wasn't easy. I just knew it was time. After thinking on it and praying on it, it was time to just step away and just it's never easy just to pick one. It's like you're picking like one of your kids. So, but for me, I just need to only work with one program for now and. I told Randy Rogers if the time ever comes where, they need me again, then something I'd revisit. But for now, just going to be the girls' coach and let Jason and Ryan take care of the boys.
I think the funny thing is, you've been doing. When did you start again? 2000.
I started in the spring of 2003. Craig Kisbeth was the athletic director. I sat in with him and the principal at the time, and we just asked him. So a couple of the boosters had picked me. One of the guys that was coaching. Morristown West had coached the girls for a season and said, hey, the boys need a coach. And then as the season wore on, at the end I got asked to coach the girls because it was going to start up in the summer. So in the 6-month period I asked to coach both. So it was just, that was it.
And been doing it ever since.
Been doing it ever since. So
What-
I wasn't even a teacher back then. I was selling phones. So, yeah. I was
Flip
selling-
phones? Them little Nokias, Blackberries?
Flip phones with the camera. I've sold Blackberries. I sold
Nice.
them all. So, yeah. They were dumb phones back then.
These kids have no. Yeah, they're dumb phones.
1.3 megapixels. They have no idea.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
No.
Yeah.
Took a picture and showed it to people and thought it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It
And you can record
absolutely
a
was
15-second video.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah.
it.
The original Vine, or they're probably too
Yeah.
young for that too. Lord, now I'm just feeling old. What was that schedule even like? Trying to balance because you've got a family, and
Well, that was when I
And you
had
have your
only had
extended
one.
family.
I only had one child. I didn't have any kids then. In 2003, my daughter was born in 2005. So having a newborn a couple of years into it, and then I was very lucky. My boss at Verizon allowed me to work. And leave and go and come here, and then I decided I wanted to be a teacher in 2009. Started subbing and got my teaching certification to go with my degree I'd had previously. So it just kind of worked out. So
by no way am I pushing you out, but how much longer do you think that you've got in this? Are you looking to get to 30?
I can still walk, right? So I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much
Good
till then. Till I have to walk on a cane. No, I don't have a set timeline. I don't know it's time to step away. If Ray, my son, gets involved in a lot and he needs more time from me than them, but no, I plan on coaching. I'll coach till I retire from teaching if they allow me to, and I'm still staying sharp with the game and feel like I've got a passion for it. That's the thing is I didn't step away from the boys because I have a passion for it. It was just time just to give my family some priority. So
I mean, I don't know how you did it in the first place, man. Incredible to me. But as long as I'm here, please stay because I don't like doing coaching changes.
okay.
Not my favorite thing to do. Bryson, you got anything else?
Well, I mean, you talk about that passion, well, that word passion. How have you maintained that passion for 20 years? What's that looked like on your end?
It's really, you start having to balance family and coaching two teams, and so you just have to allow your time to recharge. I try to use my breaks just to step away. Still watching the game on TV and still planning and doing things like that, but really just allow yourself to recharge and refocus because each season's different, and you have a special group. You want to make sure their season's special for them. So finish with the girls, and usually late October, give myself some time to reboot, enjoy November off, and then come back with the guys, and just to get numbers going. And then you try to enjoy your Christmas break, and then just you're able to go. The hard push is when you get done with the boys, you don't have much turnaround time till you start the girls in the summer. Really, that's the hardest stretch right there. So you're really, that day when dead period comes, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
But no, it's if you do it because you love you love the game, but B, more important, you love the players and you love working with the players and try to make it fun for them. I know that I've had some good coaches in my time. I had some bad coaches when I was growing up, and it's a lot more fun to play for somebody that you like and that gets it and gets why you're doing it, because at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's not about me. It's not about wins and losses. It's about making them better people overall, helping them succeed to get to where they want to go next level wise, whether that just means going to college, or whether that means join the military or whatever. But I want them to enjoy high school sports. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be. We're not NIL deals. We're not playing for millions of dollars. But that's it. That's what for me. That's what it's about. Seeing the joy with them, and something like at night, like during fall break when they're getting to hoist hardware up in the air. That's fun. They've worked. It's to see the fruits of their labor. They've worked since June to get there. So, yeah.
NIL is slowly creeping its way into high school athletics. I mean, we can start looking
Let's
for
not go there.
Put little
Let's not
patches
go
on
there.
the uniforms like they do.
They just need to be student athletes, and they're not kids or young adults, but they just need to be able to enjoy the purity of the game, and that's what doesn't need to get lost in all that. So,
You mentioned passion, and of course, I mean, so you took over here whenever I was a freshman in high school, and I know for a
now
fact.
you're trying to make me feel old.
Well,
thank you.
Look, I didn't even.
Mission
I have no
accomplished.
idea. I think that there was only a couple players I knew that even played for you that were in my class. Lindsay Mativich.
Yes, that was my first large girls group. Lindsay Mativich, Morgan Meredith, 2000. That was the first group that won district. They beat an undefeated girl. Greenville never lost a girls soccer game, and they beat Greenville their freshman year. And Lindsay scored the winning goal.
Really?
So,
Okay.
yes, I still have some memory of that. But that was our first. That was my second year of coaching. We went from 3-12-1. I think we went to like 9-8-1 the next year, and it was exciting.
I wish my brain worked that well.
Yeah.
Because
I can't remember them all, but that's special because that was the first thing we ever won. here
Sure.
with the girls. So, yeah, and that's when I decided that I actually I'd never coached girls soccer a lot. I coached mainly boys, club, whatever, and then some. And then I got the job, and I was like, well, this will be different. But yeah, it was.
winning fixes everything, right?
Well, winning fixes a lot, but it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. So.
But no, I mean, still, I know for a fact back then that high school athletes don't have the schedules now like they did then.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't either, and that's what I'm getting to. I
Ask
mean,
Taryn.
how do
Ask
you?
her.
I mean, you said that you're stepping away now, so I mean, are you almost looking forward to that break? Because I know that. Really, for high school athletes, when they say no off season,
There really isn't.
Yeah, it's
anymore.
legit no off
Well, she
season.
cheered and did track last
Yeah,
year
if you're not
So-
playing more than one, you're either focusing on one sport the entire time, or you're playing more than one sport. Either way,
Yeah, either way, your
you're
schedule
doing
is
something.
booked.
You're
Yeah.
doing something. Yeah.
So, give us an inside look of what that's like.
It's stressful. It's kind of overwhelming. Right now I'm in really, really hard classes, and then having that with soccer too every day, it was very stressful whenever that was going on. But it's just the love for the sport. It's just like, okay, yeah, I have school, I have homework, but I got practice and I got a game tomorrow.
Right.
So I got to go to this practice. Everybody says put school first, but it's kind of hard sometimes whenever you're like, oh, I'm playing this really important team tomorrow, so I really need to go to soccer practice and stay focused. I'll do my homework tonight, but
how do you avoid burnout? Because, I mean, I know, you were just talking about, like, when dead period comes around, you're ready for it. I mean, Lord, I've even been in the situation just following everybody.
Yep.
When we get to April, I'm starving for the end of May because I just want to get to those summer months and just kind of chill for a minute.
Yeah.
It's hard. Last year I had really, really bad hip problems, and so I didn't do club soccer, so I wouldn't get like tired of it. Because I mean, even if you love the sport, it's hard just to do it all the time. And I mean, since I was little, I've been playing soccer from club season year round, and then I had high school. As soon as high school ended, I had soccer, and then as soon as club ended, high school started, and it was just an overlap. So last year, I took a break. I did track to help me stay in shape. But I mean, it's really just like
You
the
cheered
love.
last year, didn't you?
I did do cheer
You
too.
cheered in the wintertime, so.
I was just trying all new things and
Doing different activities like cheering, like track, I mean, does that help in any way just to kind of avoid the burnout? Like sit that way, even if you take a break from soccer, it's still not like the only thing you're doing is soccer. Now you've got other things that kind of keep your mind.
Yeah, it also
going.
helps you realize how much you actually really love that sport. I mean, like you're not doing it every day. So like you're doing something else. Like, I mean, I'm cheering or I'm running and doing track, but it's not soccer. It's not the sport I've always been doing. So, I mean, it helps you realize, like now that I'm done, it's just like, I want to go play soccer now. Like, I mean, yeah, soccer dreaded me every day. I was tired of going to practice, but now it's just like, why can't I have practice every single day? Like, I always looked forward to that first day of soccer in May. As soon as school ended, we have tryouts, even though it's just summer and we just want to go have fun. But you'd rather wake up in the morning and go to practice instead of not having it anymore like I do.
I'll put you on the spot and I'll make you feel a little bit older. Shawn
Thank
and
you.
Bill Delosier are the two longest tenured coaches here. And of course, participating for both of them. Which one's more entertaining?
Oh gosh, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I've known Coach Delosier he was there whenever I was born because he's a really, really close family friend with mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it honestly depends on the day.
Yeah.
They're both very very good entertainment to watch sometimes.
It also depends on what we're doing in practice. We're having a fun day, or we're having a serious day. I can get right in there and mix it up on the fun days, but yeah, sometimes maybe I'm a little too intense with them.
I will say Coach D was a good therapist. Last year it was a big mental thing for me because I couldn't really play that much because of my injuries. So I would go and talk to him about it and just cry to him. I was like, but I don't, because I didn't want to let my team down, but at the same time I didn't want to get hurt worse before our big games came around. So
Yeah, you played through a lot of pain this year, especially early on, and you were able to get yourself where you wanted to be physically wise. So you had to do some battling. That's what I was talking about earlier. It didn't come easy for you, but you stuck with it. So proud of you for that.
it's been mental a little bit, but after my hip problems went away and finally, stopped getting concussions, maybe the concussions helped my brain straighten up. So,
Guys, you got anything else?
No, thank you for having us on here.
Thank
It's
you,
been a
yes.
pleasure. Thanks for the coverage this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to do. Doesn't feel like we're going to work at all most of the time. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Congrats on another great season. Again, I know
Thank
it
you.
didn't end where you guys wanted it to, but still, you have something special to look back on, especially everything that you guys have accomplished over these last 3 and 4 years.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I think that the girls in this team, everybody always challenging them to make their mark. I think they'll remember this season because of what they accomplished. So that's can't really ask for more than that.
All right, that'll do it for the 6th episode, Jeff Coda Go podcast. Again, football, home, playoff, first time in 20 years. $8 on GoFan, $10 at the gate, I believe is correct.
That's right.
I personally would buy it on GoFan because I would like to save $2, maybe use it somewhere else at a concession stand or something.
That's right.
I don't know what concession prices are. Every time I ask Gaines to go get me something, he tells me no and scoffs at me. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it's very rude.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Hashtag concessions for Dennis during the game. Get it trending. All right, till next time. See you guys.